Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Zekelman Holocaust Center's 41st anniversary benefit. It is inspiring to see so many people who care deeply about our mission to educate, engage, and empower by remembering the Holocaust. Thank you all for being here tonight and for being active participants in the work of building a world free from anti-Semitism, hatred, and prejudice. I have been a steward of this institution for over 40 years, and I can honestly say there has never been a more important moment in the Holocaust Center's history than right now. We are meeting this moment by expanding our educational reach across the state. Thanks to all of you for making this possible. Tonight's gathering is made even more meaningful by the date itself, one that carries profound historical weight. 87 years ago, the world bore witness to the horrors of Kristallnacht, 2 nights of state-sponsored terror that marked a devastating turning point in the Holocaust. Those were nights when Germans turned against their Jewish neighbors, when hatred was given permission to turn into action, and when the silence of bystanders allowed brutality to spread. And perhaps in our own way, we find ourselves at another turning point today. We've celebrated moments of hope, such as the miraculous return of the hostages and renewed calls for peace in Israel. At the same time, we are confronting rising tides of anti-Semitism, Holocaust distortion, and hate that once again threaten the fabric of our communities and our shared humanity. Even in the face of these challenges, I find hope. Hope in the resilience of the human spirit, hope in the power of education, and hope in the unwavering commitment of people like you. Each of us has the ability to stand up, to speak out, and to carry forward the lessons of the past so that never again is not just a phrase, but a promise we keep every single day. That promise lives in the work we do here at the Zekelman Holocaust Center, and it also lives in the hearts of those who lead with courage, compassion, and conviction. Tonight, we are privileged to honor one such individual, someone whose dedication to truth, education, and justice embodies the very values we hold dear. Our honoree, Zina Kramer, has shown us what it means to turn remembrance into action and inspiration into impact. Through her passion and leadership, she has helped to ensure that the stories of survivors are not only remembered, but illuminate a brighter, more humane future for generations to come. Thank you, Zina, for your dedication to making this year's benefit such a tremendous success. We are also honored to have Dr. Deborah Lipstadt, a pioneer historian, academic, and author who has been a champion for fighting against anti-Semitism at home and abroad. We are deeply indebted to her service to humanity and look forward to hearing her keynote address this evening. I now invite to the stage Hazzan David Propis of Congregation Sheretz Tzedek and a Holocaust Center Advisory Committee member to lead us in our national anthems, followed by Rabbi Starr, spiritual leader of Congregation Sheretz Tzedek, who will lead us in tonight's invocation, and Rabbi Joseph Krakoff of the Jewish Hospice and Chaplaincy Network. Thank you.
Please rise. Kolot balevav penima.
The program will begin in 5 minutes.
Yehudi homia unfate mizrach kadima. Ein lezion Sophia, Orlo avda tikvateinu, hatikva bat shnot alpayim, liotam chofshi be'artzeinu, Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim, li'otam chofshi be'artzeinu, Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You may be seated. Good evening. Kol hakavod to our honoree, Zina Kramer, and to the entire Kramer family, including Michael. May he be remembered for a blessing. The Kramers are truly righteous souls who, with wisdom, kindness, and hard work, strengthen our community, our people, and our world. I'm grateful for your friendship and for your leadership. With Veterans Day this week, may I ask all the veterans and spouses of veterans to please rise as you are able. May God bless you for your service, for your sacrifice, and for your hard work in building an America that is the leading force for freedom in this world. May you know our unyielding gratitude and appreciation. And let us say together, Amen. You may be seated, and thank you. From a myriad of cultural backgrounds, religious beliefs, and political leanings, we gather today united behind the mission of the Zekelman Holocaust Center. With Israel continuing to confront terrorism and questions about its need to exist as a Jewish state, and with anti-Semitism raging around the world, including right here in these United States, we recognize that Holocaust education is not a study of the past, but a modern-day tool for achieving the betterment of humankind. In that way, I want to thank and honor all the volunteers, donors, and staff of the Zekelman Holocaust Center. May God bless you for your holy efforts today and every day. As a rabbi and as the grandson of Holocaust survivors Regina and Wolf Gruka, a blessed memory, whose names and stories are immortalized by the Zekelman Holocaust Center and who are very much in my heart tonight, I'm humbled by the sacred task of honoring the Holocaust survivors who remain among us. With the Holocaust survivors in the room, please stand if you are able, or place your hands into the air. We'll ask you please to remain standing for one more moment if you can. And if you happen to be seated next to a survivor, I'll ask that you take them by the hand or place your arm on their arm as we pray for every one of our survivors. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May you be blessed with years of life, and may you be blessed with life in your years. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May you be blessed with light and with hope and with nachas. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May you be blessed with peace and with joy and with peace once again. And let us say together, Amen. You may be seated. I turn now to the children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of our Holocaust survivors. Will you please rise as you're able? And please remain standing. May God bless you for sharing your parents' and grandparents' and great-grandparents' stories, and for living their legacies of leadership, of faith and of family, of community and of peoplehood, of justice and compassion. Please remain standing if you're able. Mindful now that the sacred task of remembering the Shoah Holocaust and teaching about the Shoah rests not just with the survivors and not just with the descendants of survivors, but with us all. Allow me please to invite everyone in the room to rise now as you are able. Today we stand to declare we will never surrender to evildoers. Today we stand to declare that we will not give in to hatred and to prejudice. Today we stand to declare that with justice and kindness, righteousness and compassion, they will forever be our guide. Today we stand to declare that we will never forget. And today we stand to declare in one voice and with one heart, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai. And I invite you, to all our survivors, to all of us, to look around the room as we declare once again, Am Yisrael Chai. May the one who makes peace in the heavens above grant true and lasting peace to all of us on earth below. And let us say together, Amen. You may be seated. We turn now to Rabbi Joseph Krakoff.
I have the distinct honor this evening to say just a few words about an absolutely amazing lady. Zina, you are a woman of valor, of kindness, of warmth, and generosity. You embody a strong, lifelong spirit of community involvement and civic leadership. And it has been a tremendous personal honor to work in partnership with you at Jewish Hospice and Chaplaincy Network, where you have served as board chair over the last many years. I have come to see firsthand that you are a bridge builder and a people connector to the core of your being. Your intelligence, your insight, and deep commitment to all the members of our community is strong. It is unwavering. And I love how you regularly share your father's Yiddishisms, his sayings, and Talmudic quotes, offering profound wisdom, inspiration, and connecting the generations, door to door, one to another. As we honor you tonight, an honor that is so well-deserved, we remember with tremendous affection your beloved Michael, your Beshert, who so wanted to be here with us tonight. I love the story of how when you first came to America as a toddler, you stayed at the Madison Lenox Hotel, which was owned by Michael's father and some of the Kramer uncles. And it was Michael's Aunt Ida who bought you a little yellow polka dot dress, a dress that you still have today. Over 56 years of married life, you and Michael were the best of friends, always holding hands and sharing a special, unconditional love, which you did to his very last breath, and you continue to do each and every day. May his precious memory forever be a blessing I know we all feel his presence here with us tonight. And so, Zina, we pray that the Almighty continue to bless you and your dear family with all that is good, giving you the strength and resolve to continue every one of your holy endeavors, each and every day. May God bless you, guard you, and watch over you. And together we say, Amen. Now going to offer on behalf of all of us the Hamotzi prayer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Thanks, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. I'm actually up here speaking for Rob and myself, and that is why our marriage has worked for so long. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Rob and I are truly honored to serve as honorary chairs of the Zekelman Holocaust Center's 41st anniversary benefit. We've had the privilege of working alongside our dear friends Zina and Michael of blessed memory for many years, and it has been our honor to be able to partner with them often in their tireless efforts to strengthen education, democracy, and connection in our Detroit Jewish community and beyond. Zina's life story carries deep meaning for all of us. As the daughter of Holocaust survivors, she has always stood for truth and remembrance, values that feel even more urgent today, in a time marked by misinformation, distortion, and denial. Her willingness to serve as tonight's honoree and to lend her voice and her heart to the center inspires all of us. As last year's honorees, Rob and I spoke about the center's mission and how vital it is in this fraught moment of rising anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic violence. However, over the past year, we've also watched with awe as the museum's impact continues to grow, from its outreach to police departments and universities across the state to the record attendance and extraordinary support we're seeing tonight. We know that Holocaust education is one of the best ways to combat the rising tide of hate and ignorance. Tonight, as we celebrate the center's accomplishments, we also acknowledge the work ahead, and we hold on to hope. Zina's own story is a reminder that hope and resilience have always been part of the Jewish story. Zina, thank you for your extraordinary leadership and for ensuring that memory lives on. We are thinking of Michael tonight, and we are deeply grateful for your friendship. Thank you for being here and for standing with the Zekelman Holocaust Center in remembrance, in education, and in hope for a better future. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our stage Executive Board Member Alan Zekelman.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight is a celebration of your hard work, your commitment, and your belief in what the Zekelman Holocaust Center stands for. Especially today, it takes all of us working together to keep this vital mission alive. At the center, Holocaust education is about safeguarding truth and confronting the world's oldest hatred, anti-Semitism. By teaching the Holocaust in its full specific context as a systematic, bureaucratic, and state-sponsored genocide of the Jewish people, we preserve the memory of the victims, honor the resilience of the survivors, and equip new generations to recognize and challenge anti-Semitism wherever it appears. In a time when Holocaust distortion, denial, and anti-Semitism are on the rise, across political, cultural, and digital spaces, this education is an act of moral clarity and resistance. Supporting the center is not just about history, it's about courage, truth, and the fight against hatred today. The Holocaust Center reaches tens of thousands of visitors each year and inspires students, educators, and professionals to recognize and prevent anti-Semitism, discrimination, and hate in our society. Through our educational initiatives, visitors of all ages learn about ethical leadership and are forced to ask themselves, what can I do? One 11th grader reflected, after learning at the museum, I can choose to be kind, stand up against unfair treatment, and treat everyone with respect. I can also keep learning about others to help make the world better. Those words really do sound just about right. This is the impact of your support, transforming education into empathy and action. Everyone here understands the importance of this work, and as anti-Semitism rises, your continued commitment is more vital than ever. If you already support the center, we thank you, and we hope you will continue with that commitment. If you are a guest tonight, we invite you to join us with a gift of your own. We invite all of you to visit the center and experience the new exhibit, and bring your friends, family, and colleagues to our programs so they can understand why this work really does matter. And as you plan for the future, I ask you to consider a legacy gift. Legacy support ensures that long after we are gone, the voices we safeguard will still be heard, and the lessons we teach will still be passed forward. Before I close, to remind us what this work truly defends, the enduring spirit of the Jewish people, I'd like to invite Hazzan David Propis to share a few stanzas of Hirsch Glick's Partisan's anthem, Zog mit Kein.
The Partisan hymn was composed by Hirsch Glick, a family member of our honoree, Zina Kramer. Tonight I want to dedicate this piece, a very important anthem for the survivors, children of survivors, and all of us, to the memory of my uncle, Beryl Burke, of Zichrono Livracha, who was captured and tortured at the 9th Fort in Kovna, and then shot by firing squad. Sag nicht keinmal, als du gehst dem letzten Weg, wenn Himmeln bleien, verstellen bläue Tag, weil kommen wird noch unser ausgebänkte Show. Jetzt wird abheugt und unser Trott mir seinen da, weil kommen wird noch unser ausgebänkte Show. Es wird abheugt und unser Trott mir seinen da. Come what may, you mustn't say this is the end, even though we walk alone without a friend. For the day that we all dreamed about is near, when we'll shout to all the world we still are here. For the day that we all dreamed about is near, when we'll shout to all the world we still are here. If you're able, please rise. Join me on the last verse. Der Vater so keinmal, als du gehst dem letzten Weg, wenn Himmeln bleien, verstellen bläue Tag, weil kommen wird noch unser ausgebänkte Show. Es wird abheugt an unser Trott mir seinen da, weil kommen wird noch unser ausgebänkte Show. Es wird abheugt an unser Trott mir seinen da.
Thank you, Hazzan. Please be seated. Zina, that was supposed to be a surprise for you. I hope it was a surprise. And as the Hazzan said, Hirsch Glick wrote those words in the Vilna ghetto, words of defiance and hope. Mir seinen do, we are here, and we will remain here, teaching, remembering, and standing for truth. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our stage Chief Executive Officer, Rabbi Ellie Mayerfeld.
Good evening. What an honor to be here tonight among survivors, friends, elected officials, supporters, next generation families who share a common conviction that the lessons of the Holocaust must never fade and must never be forgotten. Well, we are standing today at a turning point in history. The generation of survivors, our witnesses to the unimaginable, is passing, even as denial and distortion spread. Words like Holocaust and genocide are being twisted and emptied of meaning. Too many no longer know what truly happened or why it matters today. The question before us is urgent. How do we sustain Holocaust education so it remains relevant, powerful, and accessible to the next generation? In 1961, President Kennedy challenged America to land a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth before the decade was out. a goal that came to be known as a moonshot. 10 years ago, our institution's moonshot goal was a law requiring Holocaust education throughout the state of Michigan. And now we have succeeded in ensuring the success of that mandate. Yet the mandate is not enough. The mandate is not enough. Tonight we offer our next moonshot, an audacious and ambitious 10-year goal, because the scale of our challenge demands nothing less. During the Holocaust, 1.5 million Jewish children were murdered. Therefore, between now and 2035, the Zekelman Holocaust Center will educate and empower 1.5 million students here in Michigan. And another 50,000 people who shape their values and actions of others, teachers, law enforcement officers, community leaders, university students, and faculty. And in that same decade, we will secure commitments of $40 million, leading to a $100 million endowment by the 100th anniversary of the end of World War II. This will sustain our mission for the next century, because the memory of the Holocaust and its lessons of prejudice and moral courage must endure in a post-survivor world. This moonshot goes beyond education mandates. We will change the landscape of Michigan by ensuring that students and adults throughout the state, not just once on a field trip, but many times across their lives, learn these difficult histories and reflect on those lessons in the choices that they make today. So how will we get there? We will expand experiences that immerse learners in the human story. We'll have traveling exhibits that reach every corner of Michigan, and survivor voices that will live on through technology and next-generation storytelling. We will create new ways for professionals, law enforcement, educators, business, and civic leaders to apply this history to the moral choices that they face every day. And we will gather scholars and institutions from around the world that refuse to distort history and who remain committed to truth and human dignity. Everything we achieve will be powered by our extraordinary staff, whose dedication, creativity, and heart will continue to drive success, just as their work has made this evening truly exceptional. They embody the very best of this institution. Please join me in thanking them. But even their extraordinary work is only part of the story. As Alan reminded us, you all play an important role as your commitment sustains this mission. Our next decade depends on visionary partners willing to invest in a future built on truth and moral courage. This is how we turn vision into reality. Friends, our moonshot is bold, but it must be. The future will judge us not only by how we remember the past, but how we act on its lessons. And I am humbled to lead this institution into this courageous future. So tonight, imagine that future with us, a Michigan where every student knows what the Holocaust was and why it must not ever happen again, where educators and leaders stand up to anti-Semitism and defend humanity. And together, we can make that future real, where remembrance becomes responsibility and truth endures for generations. I invite you now to see our mission come to life, the impact of your support on the future we are building together. Thank you.
One of the most powerful lessons of the Holocaust is the way to truly perpetrate hatred is for it to permeate through society.
We're seeing a resurgence of anti-Semitism. I mean, it has grown tremendously in today's day and age, and I can't believe I'm saying this. Now it's just become fashionable again to be against Jews, to be anti-Semitic, to be anti-Jewish. I'm grateful my grandparents are not alive to see that.
People are curating their truths in a certain way, and the objective truth is getting a little bit lost. The importance of places like the Holocaust Center are to be able to tell that objective truth.
I've been thinking about speaking for a while. There was a rise in anti-Semitic incidents. I was like, It's really time for me to start talking and telling the story. To me, this was my answer to try to fight anti-Semitism.
This is the place where people come to learn about history of what went on during the Holocaust.
It was just such an incredible, invigorating experience to be here. Being with people who are passionate about the same thing that I'm passionate about.
It's a living memorial to those who didn't survive and those who did. The stories are quite literally written on the walls.
It's not just about numbers, it's not just about the horrors of the war. It's really about stories.
As humans, we're always interested in the personal side of things.
These were people, and these were their lives, and they were people who were living lives just like you.
I think I have the best childhood a child can dream of. I was the first grandchild in my mother's family. I was loved like an icon. I looked like Shirley Temple and I had her curls. My father was working and saving penny to penny because he was a tailor. He bought me from Germany the August Förster piano, the best at that time. From 5 years old I started. I love it. I worked hard on it. We had a very nice musical conservatory. The director, he said, "You are the best student. In the end of September will be your concert." This didn't happen. No more happy days. No concert was played. The beloved people were killed. The golden childhood finished in one day.
My parents both ended up in the Kovna ghetto separately. They met in the Kovna ghetto, where 4,000 people had lived before. They pushed 28,000 people into that space, so people were literally on top of each other.
2 grandparents, they were murdered in the forest, thrown into a pit.
They were being rounded up and they were told to get into the carts. My Zadie and his sisters ran into the woods, ran as fast as they could, and they were being shot at. His mom was gunned down along with his dad.
My grandfather, he walked with his family to the train platform. People were told, "You're being relocated, you're gonna dig foxholes." And instead, they went to Sobibor where they were all gassed.
My dad and his family made it to Auschwitz alive. So my aunt's walking about 50 feet. She's holding the baby. There's a guard that's coming around that's trying to take the baby. My aunt, who I never met before, is my hero because she had literally 60 seconds to make a decision. Give the baby to the guard and possibly live, or die with the baby. How do you make that choice?
My mother's entire family were murdered, so she suffered all of her life with nightmares.
My youngest aunt with her baby and my uncle, grandparents from both sides, which I love, and I still love and cry about them every day. They were all killed. I couldn't take it after the war. I was broken. I was heartbroken to hear all this. This is why I couldn't play anymore piano. This is why I had to stop. After the war, I went back and I didn't remember a thing. I could not do performances for the people, for auditories. This was my dream, but I'm not a pianist anymore. So I played for myself and for my family. Thank you.
At any family birthday party, you could watch my Zadie, and you could see my Zadie look around a room and think, look at what we rebuilt. My mother told me to survive and rebuild, and that's what I did.
The survivor community was so incredibly strong. They were all living in a new land, a new culture, new language. They were survivors not just of the horrors of war, but they were survivors in terms of really being able to create a new life, to fight all the odds against that new life.
When I think about my family and everything that my grandparents lost, I also think about everything that they gained. They had a wonderful family who in turn had a wonderful family.
These are my jewels. I call that, this amazing family, my revenge against Hitler, surviving.
After all of this time, these stories are still relevant.
I'm particularly proud of the fact that we bring through so many children and teachers and lawyers and doctors, law enforcement officials and government officials.
Our odds are so much better if people understand what has happened before and begin to recognize what might be going on, to recognize what they can do to educate other people.
The way that we stop bigotry and hatred is with ordinary people saying, I've had enough. Ordinary people refusing to go along with it. Ordinary people talking to other people. It always begins and ends with ordinary people.
One person. If I make a difference in one person in the people I talk to today, one's all it takes.
It's our responsibility to tell these stories. I am the last generation of my family who interacted with him and knew him firsthand, and that's an incredible responsibility and honor.
Now joining us, Governor and former Ambassador to Canada, Jim Blanchard.
Good evening. First, I want to thank your parents and your grandparents for supporting me over the years, and many of you. I want to see if you're still awake here. Come on. I can't tell you what a fabulous outpouring in this crowd is. You rarely see this anywhere, so mark it as a special night for Zina and Michael and their family. On the evening of July 17th, 1947, Hirsch and Shifra Perlman arrived in the New York harbor as refugees and survivors of the Holocaust. In their arms was their 2-year-old daughter, Zina. Thus began a wonderful American success story that continues to this very, very day. It's a heartwarming story of our dear friend Zina Kramer and her loving family. And so it's a great honor and personal joy for Janet, Jay, and me to be here tonight to celebrate someone who has meant so much to us for over 4 decades and meant a lot to many of you as well. I've heard so many stories tonight, including about Michael as well. He has his stories as well. We've been blessed to share the friendship with Zina and Michael since the 1970s. We would entertain each other, travel together, campaign together, relax together from the shores of Lake Michigan to the shores of the Atlantic, from Normandy and Paris to Morocco and Rome. And what a joy, what fun. And Michael Kramer entertained us every step of the way. And Zina educated us every step of the way. We have so many stories. I'm sure many of you do as well. And through it all, Zina's dedication to our country, to community affairs, to Jewish causes, to public service, to education, to health care, and to a better world is inspiring. We would have the privilege of serving as delegates to the Democratic National Conventions and also members of the Board of Directors of the National Archives Foundation, where I might add Zina's deep sense of history has been noteworthy. And you would expect that from someone who taught history in high school. So how fitting it is that we gather here tonight at the Zekelman Holocaust Center's annual dinner, where remembrance and education are at the heart of everything we do. I also want to welcome Deborah Lipstadt, noted historian, author, and activist, to be our keynote tonight. In 1980, while I was serving as a member of the United States Congress, I also served as a founding member of the United States Holocaust Memorial Council in Washington, D.C. I can attest to the fact that Zina's dedication to Holocaust education is unmatched. And as you know, we need that now more than ever. A passionate advocate for the organization, Zina holds the center's work especially dear as it reflects the values she and her late dear husband Michael embraced together, and to her children and her grandchildren. This evening celebrates Zina and her family, Michael's lasting legacy, and the continued impact of the Zekelman Holocaust Center. Zina, your friendship has enriched our lives and those of so many lives who you have touched. And so now I'd like to turn everyone's attention to a video made by some special people who can introduce this amazing woman even better than I can. Now this.
My mom is the daughter of survivors. She was born in Europe. She spent part of her life in a displaced persons camp in Germany.
My mom came to America when she was 2. She loves this country. She loves that they were given the opportunity to have a second chance and recreate their lives in this country. She has dedicated her entire life to giving back.
My mom is a true force of nature, a one of one, someone who makes it her life mission to care about others, her family, her friends, her community.
My mom is a true activist. She spends a lot of her time working for the organizations that she cares about. She's really committed to the Holocaust Center because she believes there's so much power in education.
Ever since I've known her, she has emphasized the importance of an education in civics, lessons about human rights, lessons about the consequences of prejudice. These are things that Zina has worked tirelessly for.
She's one of the most kind, caring, passionate, and resilient people that I've ever met.
My Grammy's a really awesome person and she's really fashionable.
My grandma is an extremely curious person, passionate about so many different things.
It's just in her blood that she's somebody that will always be there for you.
She puts so much time and effort and care into every person.
Like my mother, my father, Michael Kramer, was someone who was very focused on the community and giving back.
My dad was the best. He was full of charisma.
He had a huge heart. He had a lot of empathy for people who didn't have what he had. He was involved in food banks. He was involved at Oakland University. He was involved in a number of Jewish organizations because he had the heart and he wanted to do it.
I've learned so much from him and my grandmother, contributing to the world in a positive way.
You know, him and my grandma Zina would always think about giving before getting.
They work together to make real change in this world.
They were quite a power couple. My mom, of course, continues on with that legacy.
Grammy, I just want to say congratulations. I'm so proud of you. There's nobody in the world who's more deserving of this.
You've spent your whole life working towards making this world a better place.
You've taught me so many Jewish values and just values in general that I hold so close to me in every day of my life.
I am so proud of you and all of the work that you do for the Holocaust Center.
Thank you for being an amazing person and a beautiful role model.
Congratulations to my mom, Zina Kramer.
Congratulations, Mom.
Grammy, I'm so proud of you.
We love you.
I really love you, Grammy, and you're the best Grammy ever. Congratulations, Grammy.
And now, on behalf of everyone here, I'm honored to introduce tonight's honoree, the Woman of the Year, a beloved leader, teacher, activist, devoted mother and grandmother, and a true servant of the public good, Zina Kramer.
Well, I'm a bit overwhelmed, but thank you all, and I'm so pleased that you've chosen to be here this evening. I know some of you had to be pried away from Sunday night football, but here we are. I am truly humbled and I'm honored to be standing here tonight with our community in Detroit, in the United States of America, as a child of survivors of the Kovna Ghetto in Lithuania, who was born immediately after the war in Europe. To put my remarks in perspective, please understand that my mother had been a seamstress in a glove factory in Vilna before the war with 4 siblings and a loving home. My father was one of 3 children from Kovna and from a very wealthy family who had owned a textile factory. Both of them grew up leading full and fun lives and hopes and dreams. And in 1941, when they were both in their 20s, they were suddenly forced into a ghetto, a small space of Kovna where almost 30,000 people were crammed into a fenced-in area that previously held about 4,000, crammed into random rooms with very little clothing or possessions and assigned to jobs, including hard labor. Over 3 years, most of the 30,000 were either shot at a nearby medieval fort, the 9th Fort, with some shipped to concentration camps where most would be murdered. Living in the ghetto meant constant threat of death for the crime of being Jewish. My parents, in too long a story to tell here, were part of a small group that survived the ghetto. Hidden fields and barns had me while they were homeless and ultimately came to the United States with the 2.5-year-old curly-haired toddler. Growing up, I felt different. All of my American-born friends talked about going to their grandparents' homes. I had no grandparents. My parents had an accent and spoke a mixture of Yiddish and Russian and Polish and Lithuanian, Hebrew, English, with even a smattering of Esperanto. My friends' parents sounded very American. We had no family photos scattered around our home, certainly not in beautiful old frames because the Nazis had confiscated them in the ghetto. There were no pieces of jewelry that were a mother's or grandmother's, no grandmother's candlesticks, no family heirlooms. But I grew up, and my sister, who is 9 years younger than I am, in an environment rich with survivors, friends of my parents, some of whom had lost their own children. They became the people who sewed our clothes, taught us songs, taught us stories, and were proud of our accomplishments as though we were part of their own family, their own children. Because they had all survived in different ways, they shared their stories. They argued about world issues, and most of all, they sang. They sang around our dinner table in English, in Yiddish, in Russian. They had lived through the horrible loss of parents, siblings, family, homes, possessions, and even their given names, and yet they sang. I can still hear the voices of the Levinsons, the Thatches, the Goldmans singing, and when there were celebrations, they knew how to celebrate and had not forgotten that dancing made them happy. My father would say, "When I dance with your mother and she's wearing a new dress, I feel like I own the world." But I have regrets. I regret that I didn't ask enough questions. How did they feel when they were taken from their homes? How did my father, who had gone to medical school and was brilliant, feel when he had to break rocks as a slave laborer to build an airport? How did my mother feel as the housekeeper for the Obersturmenführer, the commandant of the ghetto, when he made her stand at a window as they rounded up the children of the ghetto, put them on trucks to be killed by the Nazis in what came to be called the Children's Action? What emotions did my mother have when through a brave courier she found out that her family, sisters, brother, nephew, mother, had all been shot dead into a mass grave outside Vilna in the Pinar forest? How did they feel as they escaped from the Kovna ghetto just days before it was liquidated by the Nazis as they burned down what was remaining, buildings and people, including my father's sister and his father. How did they feel when everything familiar and predictable in their lives was taken away for a totally unpredictable future? I often think, how could it have felt to be a refugee and know that you are about to have a baby with no money, no home, no friends with you, and no family? As a child, I was focused on how we were different and not appreciative of the great accomplishments my parents made by surviving, hiding in fields and stables, crossing dangerous borders to finally get to a displaced persons camp in a monastery outside of Munich. Having a child, figuring out how to get to Detroit, where my father was fortunate enough to have 4 Perlman uncles. By the way, 2 of the uncles lived on a street my parents referred to as OH10. Most of us know that as Ohio Street. Imagine having the emotional strength to create a different life in a new country with a new language, new American names, new friends, and yet maintain such gratitude for all they had. I often remember that my father thanked my mother at the end of every meal, and my mother would say everything was the best. If you gave my mother a glass of water, she would say, "Where did you get this water? It's the best I ever had." Gratitude wasn't just a word to my parents after losing everything. It was a way of life. In their honor, I would like to show my own gratitude and say thank you to the guard that allowed them to escape shortly before the ghetto was burned to the ground, to the woman who said, "God will bless you," to my mother after my mother gave her bread she took from the commandant's home at risk of being shot, to the farmers who let my parents sleep in their stables after escaping from the ghetto. Thank you to George Kadish, who risked his own life by using a hidden camera through a buttonhole of his overcoat to chronicle everyday life in the ghetto and hiding the film in milk cans in the ground with the hope that the film would be found after the war, and snapping the photo of my mother on the ruins of that ghetto, the ruins of lives, the photo you see tonight on the screen. In the picture, she is wearing her only possession, the one dress she owned. Thank you to the man named Dimart who drove us across borders and got us to Germany and eventually our DP camp. And thank you to the nurse in Dresden who took me home and gave me food after I had typhus. Although my parents did have to kidnap me back as she wanted to keep me. I must have been adorable. Thank you to the priests and the nurses who took care of us in the DP camp. And thank you to the Kramers who allowed us to stay at the Madison Lennox when we came to the United States. Who would have known that I would meet their son, Michael Kramer, of blessed memory, 20 years later and marry him. And thank you to the Levinsons who loved to sing Russian songs around our dining room table, and to the Elperins who brought joy and Taglach to us after losing their children in the war. Thank you to the Thatches with Banish Thatch reminiscing about sharing a desk with my father in the Kovna School, and Riva for the stories about how beautiful my mother was. A huge thank you to the man who changed my life, Michael of blessed memory, without whom I would not be standing here tonight, for loving my family, my parents, my sister Anita, and their unique experiences. I thank him for going on this journey of learning with me and for being the father of our incredible children, for loving me and wanting to share my story. And thank you, Michael, for the huge, huge bonus of giving me a wonderful extended family of Goldberg, Jacob, Friedman, Huberman, and Kramer cousins and almost cousins that have enhanced my life and provided loving family that Anita and I didn't have when we were growing up. Michael, we will always love you. Thank you to my children, David and Anessa Kramer, Lisa and Josh Friedman, who demonstrate their gratitude by giving back to their communities and living the Jewish value of tikkun olam, repairing the world. Thank you to my Amerikanische sister, Anita, and her husband, Ralph Zekelman, whose father was also a survivor, and their children, Sarah and Brad, for having the interest in doing the work and uncovering more of our family history. And to my grandchildren, Sam and Max Kramer, and Sydney and Maddie Friedman, for listening to stories and caring about my heritage. My father, who called his grandchildren his dividends, had a dying wish to be at David and then Lisa's bar and bat mitzvah, as a sign that even after the Holocaust, they would be free to be Jewish. He danced at both events. Janet and Jim Blanchard, who co-chaired this event, and like many of you, our adopted family, are another reason to express gratitude. Together, they have shared, encouraged, and created so many learning experiences that helped me appreciate the work of institutions that observe, create, and chronicle history. And to my friends who have indulged me as I tell my family stories, thank you for letting me repeat the stories numerous times while you pretend to hear them for the first time, and for being generous enough to support this special event and to even fly in for this event. I hope that we can all be grateful for the good in our lives, but especially now, it is important to guard against all forms of hate if we want to protect what we have. In a time when Jews may have differences of thought on other subjects, we must stand together with our non-Jewish friends to fight anti-Semitism. I am grateful for those who are in the audience of all different faiths who chose to learn about our history and the horrors and stories of courage and survival so that we can avoid a world on repeat. Thank you all for being here tonight and your concern for learning and remembering history. And the biggest thank you to the Zekelman Holocaust Center for preserving the past, for telling the story of our history, and the stories of people like my parents who endured the most horrific chapter in Jewish history. Fighting anti-Semitism through education is an essential means with which to fight hate. Thank you all for being here.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our stage, President of the Board, Gary Karp.
Thank you very much, Zina, and congratulations to you and your beloved Michael of blessed memory, who was a mentor to me as a young law student just a few years ago. As founding members of this institution, my parents taught me that serving our community honors the past, sustains the present, and safeguards the future. Tonight, we have the privilege of hearing from someone who embodies that spirit of service, Dr. Deborah Lipstadt, a woman whose voice, scholarship, and moral courage have shaped the global conversation on Holocaust remembrance and the fight against anti-Semitism. Since her last visit to the Holocaust Center in 2014, Dr. Lipstadt's work has become even more timely and vital. Over the last decade, we've witnessed horrific acts against Jews simply for being Jewish. In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Poway, California, Muncie, New York, Jersey City, New Jersey, Colleyville, Texas, Boulder, Colorado, and Washington, D.C. Through it all, Dr. Lipstadt has been on the front lines of fighting this hatred with truth and despair with courage. She has said that, quote, "Anti-Semitism is free-flowing, moving across every place on the political spectrum. It can come from left, right, center, center-left, center-right. It can come from Christians. It can come from Muslims. It can come from atheists. It can come from Jews. It is ubiquitous," end quote. Her words capture the pervasiveness and the complexity of the threat we face. Tragically, we have seen and experienced its deadly consequences. To fight this insidious anti-Semitism, Dr. Lipstadt was confirmed by the U.S. Senate in 2022 as the Global Special Envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism with the rank of ambassador. In that role, she led the creation of the Global Guidelines to Combat Anti-Semitism, which is now endorsed by 39 nations and 4 major international organizations, a landmark step in this global fight. At home, for more than 3 decades, Ambassador Lipstadt has educated and shaped generations of students at Emory University, where she holds the rare title of Distinguished University Professor, a singular honor presently held by no other faculty member and reserved for those of truly exceptional achievement. Named as one of Time's 100 most influential people of 2023 and elected to the American Academy of Arts and Sciences in 2024, Ambassador Lipstadt continues to inspire generations with her unwavering dedication to truth, justice, and history. Just like our institution, Ambassador Lipstadt understands that Holocaust education is not only about remembrance, it's also about responsibility and shaping the future. She meets the moment by confronting anti-Semitism from wherever it rears its ugly head, and she bravely takes the slings and arrows from all sides. As the president of the Zekelman Holocaust Center, I am honored that Ambassador Lipstadt supports our work and mission as Michigan's nexus of Holocaust education as we engage, educate, and empower by remembering the Holocaust. It is my great pleasure to welcome to the stage Ambassador Deborah Lipstadt.
Thank you, all of you, for joining us as we celebrate Zina and the remarkable achievements of the Zekelman Holocaust Center. We are deeply grateful for the support each of you provide to the center. As a special thank you also to all of the elected officials who are here this evening. As a small token of thanks, please take home a centerpiece, especially our survivors and veterans. I invite you all to please join us now for a dessert afterglow and continued conversations. Safe travels and good night.